Bickley and Marotta. Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Deandre Ayton is no longer a son, no longer our piñata, no longer our problem, and I am betting it won't be long before Trailblazers fans are polarized and screaming at each other while yelling at DA, "Dunk the ball!" But as Ayton's harshest, most steadfast critics, there are no victory laps here. I find the whole story sad. DA was indeed burdened by that number one overall draft status, and he joined an organization that was dripping with dysfunction. There's even a story that the former owner became enraged when he found out that Ayton had signed with Puma because he thought their shoes were garbage. And word is he told a group of Puma execs that he would have never drafted DA had he known his preference in footwear. That's how weird things once were around here, folks. But unfortunately, DA is also burdened by his incredible talent. He doesn't want to be as great as he can be because good has always been good enough, and because it's always been easy, he doesn't understand what hard looks like, and when he's forced to encounter hard, he doesn't like what it feels like, especially when we're talking about the physicality of the NBA playoffs. Now, I know there are fans who are angry. I also know many fans who are relieved to be free of the frustrations that would be inevitable with another season of DA in Phoenix, but in the end, it was time. It was time to move off DA because it's not playtime in Phoenix anymore, folks. It is time to win a championship. Today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW, who make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
The Suns have been engaged with the Portland Trailblazers sort of separately from this conversation for a while now. Ayton is a guy that they feel will pair very well with their young guards and Scoot Henderson. And he's excited about this chance to restart, have a new head coach, restart everything. Even though he had developed a good relationship with Frank Vogel in Phoenix over the course of this summer, he thinks he can blossom as he's going to be one of the top options on the Trailblazers, and they're excited about him. They've had an interest in him for a while.
It's Ramona Shelburne, ESPN, on the Ayton side of things. And look, for years we were offered the nickname Dominatin' by DA himself. Earlier this offseason, Bick, I said, all right, things are changing around Phoenix. Maybe it's time for DA to change, and I offered up reincarnating. Now, with Deandre Ayton on his way to Portland, it's matriculating. He's matriculating.
That's pretty good.
To the great Northwest. He is, like you have outlined, not the Suns' issue.
Yeah.
And you use the word sad. I kind of agree with that.
It is sad.
Did DeAndre Ayton live up to the billing as the number one overall pick for the Phoenix Suns? And it's a complicated question. I think the answer ultimately is no, because you have to, when you examine that question, you have to consider all options. What the Suns had at their disposal with the number one pick in that particular draft. I don't have to say the name. Everybody knows who I'm talking about.
Trae Young.
No. Marvin Bagley.
No, I guess not.
The Suns did not accomplish the ultimate goal. Those players that were also at the disposal of the Suns with that pick have not accomplished their goal with their respective teams. But it's different when you're the number one pick, and that added to the pressure. It added to the target on the back of DeAndre Ayton, and I just don't think in 5 years in Phoenix, Arizona, he was suited to live up to those pressures.
No.
And he's a guy, I'm going to get this out of the way.
All right.
I like DeAndre Ayton. I've always rooted for him. I will root for him. I'll root for him in Portland. I think he's a very likable guy.
He's got a great personality.
Yes.
Yeah.
If things would have gone better overall with him, he would have been one of the most beloved players ever because of his personality.
Yeah, but again, I don't think you can separate one from the other. I think he is who he is as an athlete because of that personality. Yeah. You know what I mean? Easy going, easy breezy.
Look, I wanted to see what he looked like under Frank Vogel. We won't see it. But now you can kind of apply those same questions. Like, can he find that inner lion in Portland?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't think that happens. I don't think guys, especially after they've been paid, DA would have to really have developed a gigantic chip on his shoulder, and I don't think that's him either. I don't think he's a guy with chips, right? I just don't think he is.
Enough things happened throughout his career in Phoenix that could have given him a chip on his shoulder that just didn't.
The fact we all expected him when Robert Sarver decided not to pay him, we thought, okay, this will be the clapback. You'll get the response you're looking for, and you didn't. And then he got paid, and he got worse. And again, I think everybody needs the shame of it with me, and I have a hard time expressing this because it's something that I've witnessed a few times and only a few times. During basketball games, maybe 4 or 5 times, I have seen Deandre Ayton sprint and jump as high as he could. There were a few moments that stand out in my head, and the moments that he did that, the level where he was at in terms of spatial dimension with his wingspan and his leaping ability, it really took my breath away. And you realize if this guy could play like that every single play, he'd lead the league in block shots, he'd lead the league in rebounding. And it wouldn't even be close. But that takes work. There was the play against Dallas when frustration built during that playoff series, and he dunked over Luka, and he kind of threw Luka to the ground. It took my breath away. Like, wow. So we all saw it in just little snapshots of how great that kid could be if he just had a different motor.
It made it even more frustrating.
It did. And then again, but what Vinny is saying is also accurate. You can't blame somebody for their nature. You can want them to change all day long. You can't blame him for his nature. It's who he is.
Is there any blame to go for the Suns organization on how they handled him over the last, his tenure here?
The last year plus of Monty Williams' handling of Deandre Ayton, I'm not afraid to say it. It was shameful.
Yeah, it was shameful. Yeah, really was.
And we've talked about it, and Monty's moved on to Detroit. Wish him well there, and he did a lot of great things for this organization. But to be a servant leader and to kind of pump yourself up as that, and to fail to connect or communicate with this enigma of a player who could have been tied to maybe a championship, I mean, that ain't it.
I totally agree with you. But listen, I always thought that Monty Williams blaming DA for the Game 7 debacle against the Mavericks, that always felt unfair to me. It felt really heavy-handed. And then he followed it up by I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm done with you.
Hey, congrats on your contract. I'm not going to the photo opportunities when you sign it.
Yeah. So I don't know what triggered that really, really extreme reaction from, as you pointed out, a man that was fashioned as a servant leader. So it's sad. It's a story of talent unfulfilled, and I'd like to say I hope that he finds it in Portland, but I really don't, because Portland's a team in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
I don't have any interest in any other team, rising up.
There's enough teams that have risen in the Western Conference.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I will say this. The first game they play against Portland is going to be quite a spectacle. Because Book's going right at them.
First preseason game of the year is against Portland.
Oh, baby.
In Portland.
Here we go.
At least I think that's the case. I might be speaking out of
But you're just right, though. Like, at least the saga is over. From not extending him when they should have to extending him when they didn't want to. Over the last 3 years.
The year when Chris Paul just grinded on him on the daily, to the point where afterwards Chris Paul even said, you people don't even know how bad this was.
Yeah.
You remember how you felt in real time in the bubble when he missed that drug test? The COVID test?
I was incandescent with rage.
I'm surprised Bick didn't curse on the air that day. I spoke out of school. The first preseason game is against Monty Williams in Detroit.
Oh, boy.
The third and fourth preseason games are back-to-backs against Portland.
Home and away?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
October 12th and 16th.
What's the second one?
Calendars. Against Denver.
Oh, great. They're just missing Chris Paul and Golden State.
And then they get the Lakers to close it out. There's a lot of preseason storylines.
Speaking of Chris Paul, did you see what Steve Kerr's doing? He's saying we have 6 starters. That's how they have to bend for Chris Paul.
I don't think that's fair.
I agree.
6 against 5 is not fair.
I love Steve Kerr, but that's...